From Palm Bay to the Palm Beaches and beyond, this is Small Biz Florida with Tom Kindred.
Thank you, sir. And welcome to another segment and installment of Small Biz Florida, the podcast and broadcast. It's all things business across the Treasure Coast and the entire state of Florida. Small Biz Florida is brought to you by the Florida Small Business Development Center Network and is produced by the Florida SBDC at Indian River State College. Small Biz Florida is designed and produced to highlight and promote the business assistance resources and programs here at Indian River State College, celebrate entrepreneurial success, present best practices, and most importantly, provide timely business information for Florida's small business owners and operators. I am Tom Kindred, and I serve as the Regional Director for the Florida SBDC at IRSC. And I like to always tell folks I also have some of the bruises and scars of business ownership for about 25 years, but I'm telling you, I don't know that even I took a beating like's going on today. Small businesses are really, this has not been an easy process to get through. We talked last week about grant programs in all 4 of our counties, and it's a great thing that they're out there, and I'm glad to see some businesses getting some dollars to help them hang in through this. So, again, the mission of our program is simple here. Make sure that folks are aware of all of the business assistance programs available to help them start, grow, and succeed. And all the more reason why it's important that we get out on Thursday evenings and talk about it, because I want to make sure people know we're here, and we are here to help and assist at the Florida SBDC at Indian River State College. So, Greg, with that, how are you this evening?
Doing real well. Yeah.
How your small business, I guess, is still operating. We're still on the air.
Yeah. It's amazing what happens when you can feed those little mice in the back. You know? It's they're on that little wheel.
They just get on the wheel and keep going. Well, that's good.
Keep us going.
You have a good model here. That's a low expense model.
Yeah. Oh man. Well, hey, we can almost talk about IRSC sports.
Are we close? Are we gonna have sports?
Everything starts either late December or 1st of January, and we're ready to rock.
Well, I can tell you on the campus, it's it's nice. There's students back. There's cars in the parking lot. The KSU has students, buying food and eating lunch, and there's people in classrooms, and CCTI is up and running with training. We had 3 companies in last week in the Brown Center doing some leadership training.
In person.
All
right.
Yeah.
Good. Good stuff.
So it's nice. And in fact, we're going to talk tonight about Port St. Lucie, the city of Port St. Lucie's BAP program, the Business Accelerator program that the city has really done a great job of supporting and sponsoring and promoting. So they started last evening with the very first class of their new round of BAP, and that's live at the Pruitt campus, held in what we like to call the Enterprise Hub. So we got our good friend Elijah Wooten to talk about that tonight. Welcome to the show, Elijah.
Hey, thank you, Tom.
And we're also going to have a great conversation with a very good friend of ours. We're not too close just yet, but we're very close with Felipe's law firm, Dean Mead. Got a lot of good friends at Dean Mead, and Dean Mead has been a great supporter and sponsor of the Florida SBDC here at Indian River State College.
And this show as well.
Yeah, and that's right.
Yeah.
In this show, Felipe is an attorney with Dean Mead, and he has written some great articles, and we're going to talk about one of those articles, Rising to the Business Challenges Presented by COVID-19 Pandemic Crisis. Flexibility and empathies are the keys to success. So I can't wait to talk about his article.
That's so true.
Again, just a quick welcome to Felipe if he's out there.
Hey, Tom. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And I think it's worth noting, Greg, that as always, WPSL, WSTU is keeping current with all the latest in technology, and our guests are joining us tonight via what else but Zoom.
Oh, really?
That's right.
Is that what it's called?
It's called Zoom.
Oh, okay.
No more dial-up phones and no more phone booths. Elijah doesn't have to go down.
Booths.
Elijah doesn't have to go outside down to across the street and get the payphone and call us. This is high tech.
Neither one of these guys is old enough to even remember a phone booth.
I remember payphone.
A payphone.
Yeah, Elijah might remember the tail end of payphones. Yes, and I don't. And Felipe, I don't. He probably doesn't even know what a payphone was. No, he never knew.
I remember that too. Man.
Yeah.
I think it was on the History Channel, wasn't it?
That's right. Yeah.
That episode,
You guys saw that on TV, some movie, old movie.
Oh,
Right.
boy.
But we are. This is all new for us, and Greg, we want to thank you for your investment in all this. And it's when we've got to keep up the social distancing. This is a great way to have guests come in now. We don't have to crowd the studio. We've got it all through technology.
Yeah, and Cliff's working the whole television thing, and by the time this hits YouTube, guys, you're going to be integrated into our television feed. So
That's right. Well,
yeah,
it's good. So.
yeah.
All right. Well, with that, I want to get to Elijah and talk a little bit about what's going on at the City of Port St. Lucie. It is a great program. The BAT program has been very successful. We started this program a number of years ago down in Martin County, and of course, as we always kind of thought, it was the kind of program we wanted to take on the road, and the City of Port St. Lucie was just the group. An organization to take it on the road with. The City of Port St. Lucie has been very innovative and forward-thinking, especially under Elijah's direction and the mayor's direction. Been very aggressive about supporting small business and supporting the business community. So they took one look at the program and said, we want to do this in the City of Port St. Lucie. So I think this is, Elijah, what are we, maybe third year? Has time flown that much? Is this the third iteration of the program?
Yeah. Actually, this will be our third Business Accelerator program. It technically would have been the fourth, but the spring course was postponed to fall, of course, due to COVID-19. But we definitely look forward to it. And actually, there's still time to register. Although we did start the course yesterday, we can open registration until next Tuesday. So I'll have more information on that. But it's a great program. Definitely enjoy it, and I think it's a great value to the businesses.
Yeah. And I want to start just with a little bit of your background. You hold a very unique and interesting position with the City of Port St. Lucie. Talk a little bit about your background, and then talk a little bit about the position you hold with the City of Port St. Lucie and the kind of assistance you can help small business with.
Sure. So my title is Business Navigator, which mainly consists of three roles. The first of which is to work with applicants as they're going through our land development and permitting process, and then also work with those departments that are the reviewers. So our planning and zoning department, our utility systems department, public works department, and building department, to try to, one, educate them on what our process entails, and then to help advocate and work with the departments to resolve issues to get the projects up and running in a timely manner. The second part of the job is being the city's point of contact for the Economic Development Council. So if there are any companies that are relocating to Port St. Lucie or expanding in Port St. Lucie and are eligible for any type of assistance or support, then we coordinate with the EDC to bring those items before the council in order to retain or attract business here. And then third is being the business liaison, working with our small business community, in addition to coordinating with the departments I mentioned, also working with groups like the Small Business Development Center, Career Source Research, Coast, of course, the Economic Development Council and the St. Lucie Chamber of Commerce, and a number of other groups to help with facilitating information and resources to help their business grow. So part of the job is understanding the process, and the other part of the job is being your local Google. That, if they ask questions, I try to ferret out, find the information, and try to bring them in touch with people who can help them out.
You could just shorten the title to King.
I don't think no. Thanks anyway, but
No, I like the local Google. I like that. That's I've never heard that.
That's a great line.
It's a good one. Elijah, let's talk. You are very in tune with the city of Port St. Lucie. Again, use the old phrase. I mean, you really do have a finger on the pulse of that city. You know what's going on. Talk to us a little bit about. Give us kind of a little overview. What I mean, are we a little upbeat down in the small business community in Port St. Lucie? Are we still a little down? I mean, what's going on down there in terms of small business and the activity?
Sure. Well, of course, since March, a number of businesses have been impacted by COVID-19. Although there was support from the state of Florida as well as the Small Business Administration, there's still a lot that are in need of help. So, we're thankful that the county was awarded CARES Act funding for a small business grant. And that program is currently available. So if your business was forced to close or you had to curtail operations, you're eligible to receive up to $7,500 through the county's small business grant program. Just visit recoverstlucie.org and they have information. You can complete the application online and submit it. And then we also have a great team with the Virtual Business Recovery Center that, in addition to helping process the grant applications, also can help other aspects of your business. And so we're really ready to work with you. In terms of activity, in talking with the departments, they still are busy. I mean, the building department's very busy processing applications, same with our planning and zoning department. So there's still activity, there's still development, there's still plans for development, which is a good sign.
Right.
There weren't a lot of cancellations, but as regards to small business, we definitely want to get them back up on their feet and operating and back to making money.
Yeah, and you've got some again pretty business savvy city council folks. I mean, your group of political leaders really do understand small business. A number of them own their own small businesses. So you do really have a pretty aggressive political leadership that understands small business, supports small business. I know that you're working on a whole small business strategic plan. And so, I mean, I think that helps. Talk a little bit about the political leadership and their, kind of their engagement in small business and support of the small business community.
Sure. So the mayor and city council are supportive, of course, of our small businesses. Tom, as you indicated, many of which are small business owners themselves, as well as our city manager, who, again, was a former small business owner. So, they're cognizant of the issues that small businesses face here at Port St. Lucie. They really follow and adhere to the strategic plan. So for economic development, we're a goal 4 of the strategic plan. And a nice addition to that, over the summer, they have their strategic planning retreat. And normally the mayor likes to get 3 pitch items from departments of things they'd like to do. And so I did indicate some things that I think the city should look at regarding, small business development. One of which, is being partners now with the Small Business Development Center. So aside from, the activities related to COVID-19, the SBDC will be involved with doing a lot of outreach and direct technical assistance and counseling to our small businesses, which is great. But in Goal 4, as a result of those conversations, they also added a component to support small business. And the reason that's important is because each year they revisit the strategic plan, the goals within the strategic plan, and where are we as a staff in implementing those. And so it'll be something that will be revisited annually. So I think that's great. And program-wise, there's some things that the city currently is doing and would be planning to do. So in addition to coordinating with our resource providers to provide assistance, we also are now looking at how do we grow opportunities for businesses in Port St. Lucie and working with our procurement department, how do we develop a a buy local program. I mean, we already have a local purchasing preference, but then how do you get that out to the departments, let them know the businesses that we have here in the city, and hopefully utilize the businesses that we have. And as well for our residents, one of the things that we did over the summer is put our business tax list online. And so if residents want to know the types of businesses we have in the city, they can look up our business tax list and sort by the categories to find businesses in their area. Which, again, we want to get the opportunities out for our businesses, and I think these are some vehicles that we definitely can use.
Nice.
And then we're also revisiting home occupation as well.
Okay, and you and part of this whole initiative with your political leadership and the city council was really their support of the BAP program. So again, talk a little bit about the creation of the BAP program and where you how you see it playing into the into the marketplace.
Sure. So the Business Accelerator Program, or BAP, as I said before, this is our third time doing it. It's a 10-week course that's offered at the Pruitt Center at IRSC, and mainly it's facilitated by the Small Business Development Center and CCTI, where they bring in guest presenters for each course. Last night's course, we talked about legal matters, but in addition to that, we talk about finance, marketing, social media, time management, a litany of things that are important to not only new companies, but existing companies. I think oftentimes when people go into business, they're skilled in their area of expertise, but they don't know everything. And so I think it's also important to understand, the tools that are available and work, smart, not hard. There's a lot of programs available that you can take advantage of to grow your business. And the BAP program talks about that. One component that we also have is a small business grant. And so midway through the Business Accelerator program, we have applications available for businesses to apply for a small business grant of up to $5,000. It's funded through our Community Development Block Grant program. And the funds can be used to purchase inventory or supplies, marketing and advertising, professional services, and employee training. So the businesses would either have to be located in a low to moderate income census tract. The business owner's household income will need to be certified as low to moderate income, or they need to employ low to moderate income employees.
All right. Talk a little bit about eligibility. This is really a program designed for businesses that are located in the city of Port St. Lucie, correct?
Correct. I mean, if a business registers and they're outside the city, they won't be turned away. But in terms of the grant portion, it can only be for businesses that are in Port St. Lucie and are current and active with a business tax receipt.
Okay. And then talk a little bit about, so they go through these multiple nights of business training courses, and you mentioned all kinds of topics. And then kind of one of the fun parts and one of the most interesting parts of the whole program for the participant is they've got to make a pitch at the end of the program, right?
Yeah, that's correct. So for those businesses that are participating and are applying for the small business grant, a part of that is a pitch competition before a judges panel, where they describe their business, describe the amount that they're seeking and how they would use the funds and how it would better their business. And then the judges panel deliberates after all the presentations, determines the amount of the grant award, and then the business is notified. It is a reimbursement grant, so they are, once approved, are expending the dollars, and then the city reimburses them based on the amount of the grant award.
Okay. And you have in the past had a local financial institution that was a sponsor. Do you still have that partnership and sponsorship?
So Center State Bank has been a sponsor of the Small Business Grant Program. So the grant was funded in part by the city's Community Development Block Grant allocation, and then there was a matching grant from Center State Bank. Our request for this course is still in review, as most businesses, banks also were impacted by COVID-19, and so they also are looking at their commitments. They do support small businesses, and they do want to continue to be involved. It's just determining the amount or the level of involvement.
How does one find out more about the BAP program? Because you have told us that even though you've had one class, you will allow some folks to continue to register and sign up and jump in at this point?
Yep, that's correct. So we could take registrations up until next Tuesday. Just visit irscbiz.com and look for the city's logo under upcoming events, and then you can register. The city is a sponsor of the BAP program, so the cost of registration is only $25. It's a great value. You're meeting weekly from 6 to 9 on Wednesdays at the college, and for $25, you can't beat it.
Okay.
So if Tom and I show up, it's $12.50 a pop, or no?
No, for you, it's $50 each.
Greg and I just want to know if there's food available. That's all. That's a primary criteria for us.
Working press, where's the
That's
food?
right.
Yes.
And I guess in closing, Elijah, again, I can't thank you enough, Elijah. You have just been a strong supporter of our program, an incredible partner. Again, you've taken us to city council meetings. You've introduced us to opportunities to partner with the city, and so I really do appreciate all that you've done with our organization to kind of create what I think is just an incredible partnership. And look, it just makes sense. I mean, there's an awful lot going on in the city of Port St. Lucie in terms of small business, and listen, we are small business, so it makes sense. So I do appreciate you recognizing our program and recognizing the power of a partnership with you.
Oh, you're welcome. It's definitely been a pleasure.
And we had 2 winners here in the studio of the BAP program, and they were on cloud 9. They love that program.
Well, they do. I mean, it is. It's anybody, small business, and we hear that. We really do. We hear that pretty consistently. Folks go and listen. It's not easy for a small business owner gets off work at 5, 6 o'clock at night and then goes for another 3 hours of training. All you want to do when you're done at work is go home, right, Greg? It's not easy for a small business owner to commit that kind of time. So, but I do think once they've done it, we always hear pretty good response. So I appreciate it. And I guess in closing, kind of also tell us if one is looking to maybe start a business, I think there's going to be opportunity on the other side of what we're going through now in terms of maybe small business ownership. How does all that start at the city of Port St. Lucie, Elijah?
Sure. Well, first, if they are looking for locations, they can definitely contact me. We provide some assistance with site selection, so we can let them know available properties for sale or for lease if they hadn't already selected one. We also work with the planning and zoning department based on what they intend to do. We'll just confirm that the use is permitted, or if it isn't, it requires council approval. We'll advise them of that as well. And just kind of walking them through the process, working with our business tax division, our building department, even the fire district and FP&L to get them up and running.
Okay. All right. Okay, Elijah, we appreciate it. Appreciate the update on the BAP program. Appreciate the support and the partnership. And thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
With that, stay tuned. We're going to just take a very quick break, and we're coming back with our very good friend, Felipe Fuerrero from the law firm of Dean Mead. Stay tuned.
Are you looking for a career with good pay and growth opportunities? Then register today for Indian River State College's Certified Logistics Associate Training Program. Hi, I'm Joe Gorham with IRSC's Corporate and Community Training Institute. The CLA course provides students with the foundational broad knowledge you will need to understand the world of distribution. The course includes training in the global supply chain, logistics environment, safe equipment operation, material handling equipment, quality control, workplace communication, teamwork, and problem solving. Upon completion, students will have the opportunity to earn a nationally recognized industry certification. Start your career path today and earn more in the dynamic field of distribution for companies like Amazon, Walmart, CVS, and others. For more information on the Lincoln Park Career Pathways program, contact Melanie George at 462-7395. 462-7395. 95. 7395. 462 7395. 462 7395. 462 7395. 462 7395. 462 7395. 462 7395. 462 7395. 462 7395. 462 7395. 462 7395. 462 7395. 462 7395. 462 7395. 462 7395. 462 7395. 462 7395. 462 7395. 462 7395. 462 7395. 462 7395. 462 7395. 462 7395. 462 7395. 462 7395. 462 7395. 462 7395. 462 7395. 462 7395. 462 7395. 462 7395. 462 7395. 462 7395. 462 7395. 462 7395. 462 7395. 462 7395. 462 7395. 462 7395. 462 7395. 462 7395. 462 7395. 462 7395. 462 7395. 462 7395. 462 7395. 462 7395. 462 7395. 462 7395. 462 7395. 462 7395. 462 7395. 462 7395. 462 7395.
Indian River State College is distinguished as the nation's top college and the recipient of the 2019 Aspen Prize for Community College Excellence. The Aspen Institute selected IRSC from more than 1,000 colleges after a rigorous review of data, strategies, and outcomes related to student learning, completion, high rates of employment, earnings for graduates, and exceptional access, plus success for minority and low-income students. Learn how IRSC makes student success its #1 priority at irsc.edu. You're listening to WSTU Stewart.
This is WPSL Port St. Lucie.
Is your business open? Let your customers know on WPSL and WSTU. Fuel your reopening digitally on TuneIn Worldwide and Alexa in your office, car, or home.
And we are back. This is Small Biz Florida from the Florida SBDC at Indian River State College. I am Tom Kindred. And if you're just tuning in, we had a great conversation just now with our good friend and partner, Elijah Wooten, who serves as the business navigator with the city of Port St. Lucie. And now we have got another great supporter of the Florida SBDC program. We've got Mr. Felipe Fuerrero, who is a shareholder and attorney with the law firm of Dean Mead. And Dean Mead and the Florida SBDC go way back. Michael Minton and the firm have long been supporters of our program, big assistance to us in helping local entrepreneurs and business owners, and been a guest on this show, I don't know, hundreds of times or something like that. So, Felipe, we welcome you to Small Biz Florida.
Hey, Tom, thank you. Glad to be here.
So give us just a little bit of a background on you, kind of your pathway to Dean Mead, and then I'd like you to talk just a little bit about the law firm. I mean, Dean Mead started out a ways back as just a single office law firm in Orlando, but you guys are busting out at the seams now. So talk a little bit about your pathway and Dean Mead.
Sure. You mentioned I'm a shareholder at the Dean Mead law firm. I've actually worked at Dean Mead my entire career, which I had my 15th year anniversary this year. In fact, I clerked with the firm when I was still in law school. I got my job, or at least the clerkship, when a couple of the attorneys here came to the University of Florida, and they interviewed me there. It's called an on-campus interview. And they invited me to come to the firm. I always wanted to litigate, but at that time, it was 2005, the height of the real estate bubble. The market was at its peak. And that summer, I kept getting work from the real estate department. And at the end of the summer, I got an offer from the firm. They wanted me to join their real estate department. And I was not very excited about that. I was excited to join the firm. But other than that summer, I just hadn't done a whole lot of real estate work. But I accepted the offer, and I worked in the real estate department for about 12 months and decided that it was not the practice area that I wanted to be in. Fortunately or unfortunately, the market bottomed out and real estate wasn't all that busy, but the litigation department had a lot more work. And I spoke with Michael Minton and asked Michael if I could transition into litigation. And about 2.5 weeks later, I had an office in the litigation department, and I was doing a lot of real estate litigation. And that was 14 years ago. And so I'm a commercial litigator, so I handle all aspects of disputes, business disputes, employment disputes. But about 50% of my practice is real estate related litigation. I'm a graduate of the University of Central Florida, where I got a bachelor's in political science. And prior to that, I grew up in beautiful Sarasota, Florida, where I went to high school. And prior to that, actually, I wasn't born here in the United States. I was born in Colombia, in Bogota. And so I do speak Spanish fluently, and that's come quite handy in being able to offer my legal services to a lot of Hispanic-owned businesses.
Yeah, obviously.
We've got a spot for him across the hall at La Gigante.
That's right. You can also be a host on a radio program right here on along the Treasure Coast, Felipe. Talk to us a little bit about Dean Mead, the firm itself. I know you've got offices now in Tallahassee and I think on the West Coast, and you got an office here along the Treasure Coast. Talk a little bit about the firm.
I'd be glad to. We're actually celebrating our 40th year anniversary this year. And we were hoping to be able to celebrate that a little bit differently, but obviously the pandemic has changed that. But you mentioned we have an office in Fort Pierce. We have an office in Stewart, our main office in Orlando. We do have an office in Tallahassee and an office in Vieira, the Melbourne area. We had an office in Tampa for a short period of time, but we did close that office down last year. Wow. Now, that being said, as a litigator, for example, I'm able to take cases all over the state. What's nice to be able to budget and manage the costs of a case is if, again, prior to COVID, if we had a court appearance, instead of having to travel from Orlando, I could call our Fort Pierce office and one of our litigators there could go to a court hearing. So we're a business law firm. Now we do represent individuals as well, but we consider ourselves a medium-sized firm. A lot of other firms view us as a large firm. Maybe because of the number of attorneys that we have, but we think of ourselves as a medium-sized firm, and we do have a very tight-knit group of attorneys, very, very low turnover rate. Most of the attorneys at our firm have practiced, if not their entire career with the firm, the majority of their career, and some have left. And guess what? They've come back. So
right.
It's a great firm.
Felipe, I've got a question. As a litigator, the courthouses, at least in the 19th Circuit, have just reopened. What happens to those cases?
It's a great question. It's really changed the way that we do work. It used to be some judges would not allow telephonic appearances. Although because of revenue reasons, a lot of the court systems did have what was called court call. And for a small fee, if you wanted to appear for a hearing, you could pay that fee and appear telephonically. It was still a savings to the client because instead of the client having to pay your hourly rate to travel somewhere, you could appear telephonically. Well, now, essentially every jurisdiction is allowing either telephonic appearances or you appear through one of the platforms like Zoom or Microsoft Teams, which has been nice because it's cut down on the travel time. It's helped manage the cost of some of those appearances, but it's also helped to keep the case progressing. Where we're running into a backlog is with jury trials. As you can imagine, the courthouse has been closed. I think they're starting to reopen where you can have some people go and they have some services. But in terms of impaneling a jury or having a large group of people come in for jury duty, that's basically grinded to a halt. And unfortunately, it is creating a backlog in cases where the ultimate disposition of the case is dependent on a jury trial.
It was a great question that Greg had. How law firms are kind of dealing in this new environment. Kind of interesting that the courthouse appearances and the Zooms and the telephonic calls. I mean, what? And you did mention, obviously Dean Mead you are a commercial law firm. I mean, you represent businesses, you litigate for businesses. What are you hearing from some of your clients? I mean, is there optimism out there? Are we are we past the worst part, or what are you hearing from clients?
It's interesting because just like with the real estate market bottoming out back in 2007, it seems as though in every downturn, there's going to be winners and losers. And some of my clients are doing very well. They're doing better than they ever have. And other clients are struggling. And it's the current situation is presented a real hardship, and they're trying just to stay afloat with the understanding that this is going to pass. Unfortunately, there's no certainty as to when it's going to pass, and so it's a bit of a guessing game.
Right. What are you hearing from? Florida was always, gosh, let's face it. The last couple of decades, Florida's been a popular place to move your business. There's advantages in Florida, tax advantages, and there were some obviously opportunities for land purchases, growth, distribution. We've got great highways and infrastructure and ports. What have you seen in terms of businesses kind of relocating to Florida? Has that slowed up?
I think it has. I think some businesses are waiting to see how things are going to go before making a commitment on an investment like that. And so while they might have some reserves and be well positioned to make that move, they're not quite ready to pull the trigger on something like that.
Right. Now, again, what I was so impressed with, and I know, Felipe, you have written a number of articles. I am a subscriber to the Dean Mead newsletter and publication. I always look forward to getting my latest issue of that. Always good articles. Certainly beneficial for small business owners. And you recently wrote an article which again caught my attention. It was called "Rising to the Business Challenges Presented by COVID-19 Pandemic. Flexibility and empathy are the keys to success." And I mean, empathy is really such a strong word. I mean, especially, coming from a serious commercial litigator. Sometimes you don't put those two things together. So it was a great article talking about, how our business is gonna deal with this issue. Talk a little bit about the article and kind of what brought you to put together that article.
I really wanted to emphasize the relationships between people, and in my profession, it's obviously people come to me to solve a problem, and a lot of times when I pick up the phone, my job is to listen, and I try to do that very carefully. I think being a good listener is how we begin to be empathetic to somebody. If you don't understand what somebody's going through or what somebody's issue or problem or need is, then you can't really start to help them or address it. A lot of times I'm not able to take the case for a number of reasons, but I am able to point somebody into to a resource, or maybe refer them to another attorney that maybe is better suited for their matter. And so the article itself outlines ways that businesses can adapt to servicing clients amid the current pandemic, specifically focusing on the importance of being empathetic and flexible to try to reinforce the relationships. And I really feel like that advice that I tried to give in the article is something that can be implemented by any small business. Doesn't have to be a law firm.
You do in the article. You kind of focus on 5 points. Kind of take us through those 5 points.
Yeah, I'd be glad to. So, as I mentioned, I get a lot of calls for potential clients, and those are initial consultations. And it's not unusual to charge for a consultation. But what I have found is that under these circumstances, offering a free consultation really goes a long way. Even if you don't end up taking the case, they will remember that, and they might think of you down the road for future business. If you do end up taking the case, obviously that was appreciated. The fact that you spent, sometimes it could be 10 minutes, could be 30 minutes. So I think offering and providing free consultations is something that every business can do. Number two would be to call the clients or customers and ask them how they're doing. Specifically, what challenges are they facing during this pandemic? And then ask them, how can you be of assistance in addressing those needs? So I think if you show interest, if you take the initiative, then that's a way for you to connect with potential clients or existing clients and help their business, their needs, and stay relevant. Number three would be to work with them to budget the expense of legal services or whatever services your company might be offering. So that might mean breaking a project down into smaller pieces, maybe doing one portion now, and then 3 months or when they're ready, maybe tackling the second phase of that. For me, obviously, billing by the hour, it could be reducing my hourly rate if that's necessary, or limiting the scope of the project, as I mentioned. So this would be just a conscious effort to work with them on their priorities, to move their goals forward, their objectives forward. The fourth way, Tom, would be to make alternate arrangements for payment. So I have had some clients ask me whether they can break an invoice down into several payments, or whether they can make payments in a different way, maybe put it on a credit card or, automatic withdrawals. So working with them on payment options, obviously, is another way that you can work with clients. The last one, a bit related to that, would be just to sit down and review the bills, see where you might be able to offer a courtesy discount or write down an existing balance, or transfer the outstanding balance to a payment plan. So those are practical ways that I think any business can really step up and help their clients.
Yeah, I really do. Again, I really appreciate all the points, and I like the fact when you talk about that, in that kind of point one, offer kind of a free, no cost consultation. You talk about even if it's only 30 minutes, it could make a huge difference to your customer or your client. And you're so right. I mean, just, in times like these, just that small bit of consultation, maybe the client just needs, a customer just needs a quick answer to a problem they're dealing with for the day. And it'll make a huge difference to that person just to get a little bit of your time as a provider. Is that fair?
Absolutely. And I've had very positive feedback on the way that I've approached. Again, being a litigator, I'm used to being in an adversarial posture all the time. So it's kind of nice when you can help somebody and you get that positive feedback. And it's the little things that really, your clients remember.
Yeah, no. And it's about building relationships. I mean, what better time to really build that relationship than tough times like this? And, I found that in my own business, when I was in the equipment business, and when I had someone that really needed their piece of equipment and it broke, but they needed it, and we were able to get them out of a bind, lend them something, it really built a much stronger, more loyal relationship. And I think, again, to your point, I mean, now's the time to be building those kinds of long-term relationships, right?
I agree with you. I think that would be my advice to small businesses across any industry right now is to play the long game and understand that this pandemic is going to be a temporary, although very severe, circumstances, and it is impacting and affecting businesses dramatically. It's still temporary. Right. And so by doing those little things and really making a personal connection with clients, that's the loyalty that you're talking about. And it's going to be something that they're going to remember for years to come.
And I also, I love, your other point about just simply calling your clients and customers. And you're absolutely right. I mean, what better time than now to reach out to your customers and clients, just to check up. How are you doing? What's going on? What are the challenges? You kind of make it you really kind of emphasize that this is now a good time to reach out and connect with those customers, right?
Yeah, I think a lot of people overlook that. They're always worried about how to market themselves. What new thing can they get into to advertise their services? And they forget that if they just open up their filing cabinet, that's their best source of business right there. I mean, these are
Right.
people that have already hired you. They've already entrusted you. And so you can just start by reaching out to your former or current clients, and it is a mutual benefit. It's a way for you to stay busy and generate work, and it's a way for you to find out how you can continue to help people that you've already helped in the past.
Yeah. And then again, another point I really appreciate is how you point out now's a great time to be flexible. I mean, be flexible, with clients and customers, and I take great pleasure when I hear someone. We're working right now in our community with lots of small business owners, helping them access grants that are available, and we'll ask the question, what's your rent, and are you current with your rent, and things of that nature, and then the applicant will tell us, well, you know what, I didn't pay my rent, in March and April because the landlord is working with us on those 2 months. So, I do love those kinds of stories when people are willing to be flexible. So again,
Yeah, and I'm finding out I represent a lot of landlords, and I also represent tenants. I'm on both sides, and I'm finding there was a lot of lessons learned from the last downturn where it was a one size fits all approach, and that turned out to be a bit short sighted in a lot of instances. And so what I've noticed and what I encourage a lot of my clients is to, and actually a lot of my clients will suggest this to me or express to me that this is their preference, is to, let's not necessarily send out that demand letter. Let's not go ahead and file that lawsuit, but let's see if maybe we can abate the rent for a few months. Maybe we can tack it on at the end. Maybe
Right.
we can get on a payment plan. And that way it keeps their space occupied. It keeps the lights on and the rent coming in. And I think everybody's hope is that this is going to pass and we're going to get beyond it.
And the one thing I've always really appreciated about your law firm, Dean Mead, is that the fact that you guys deal with all versions of business, everything from sole proprietors to Fortune 500 companies. I mean, really the experience and who you guys deal with is really a wide bandwidth of different types of clients. And I mean, is that something you find interesting or challenging as an attorney to kind of deal with that small business, and then the next meeting is with a Fortune 500 company?
Yeah, I think interesting is definitely a word I would use, especially as a litigator, because I know how to, I know the rules of procedure. I know, the case law on certain subjects, but what I don't know a lot of times is the business side of a client. And so throughout the litigation, that's something that I get to learn about. And for example, I have real estate related industry companies, and I have technology company in that industry.
Right.
And so I'm always learning something new, and I enjoy that. That's probably one of my favorite aspects of what I get to do.
And your 5 points of how to deal with clients and customers really can relate to both that small sole proprietor and that Fortune 500 company, right? It's across the board. This works.
Yeah, that's the point I was trying to make in the article. Of course, it comes down to the decision maker and whether somebody's willing to embrace that. And that's where the flexibility comes in, which you have to be able to just adapt during these times. I think that the firms and the businesses that are able to do that are going to be the ones that come out of this the best.
Okay, great advice. In fact, that was going to be my last question, was advice for small business owners and operators now. And basically it's be flexible and be adaptive. Is that kind of what you're saying?
That's it. I think otherwise you're gonna psychologically, I mean, things are hard right now. And so I think keeping a positive aspect and really trying to be proactive and just rolling with it, for lack of a better expression, I think will serve everybody well.
All right. Tell us real quick, Felipe, what's the primary email address somebody could find, the website for Dean Mead?
Right. They can go to deanmead.com, and that'll take you to our website. If you'd like to get in touch with me personally, it's first initial, last name. So it's FGUERRERO @deanmead.com. And I don't mind giving out my number. It's 407-428-5165.
All right, Felipe. Listen, you've done some great work at Dean Mead. I've read the articles, so you've really you do good work for your clients. You do good work for Dean Mead, and we appreciate what you're doing. And I can't say enough about your firm, Dean Mead. Dean Mead has always been a great supporter of the Florida SBDC here at Indian River State College and along the Treasure Coast. Been a great partner. We did a tax seminar for local business owners last year right there on the main campus in Fort Pierce. So we appreciate all you do. Thank you, Felipe, for your time this evening.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
And with that, we will bring to close another segment and installment of Small Biz Florida. You can always find out more about everything we do at Indian River State College in terms of business assistance by visiting that irscbiz.com site. And with that, that'll do it for another segment of Small Biz Florida, and we'll talk to you next week.
You've been listening to Small Biz Florida on WPSL Port St. Lucie, WSTU Stewart, worldwide on TuneIn, Alexa, and Google Home.